IVM.
Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. What would you be doing today had it not been for your day-to-day responsibilities of meeting work deadlines and making sure your family is financially secured? Would you have been a footballer, kicking the ball around on those grassy grounds? Or would you have been an artist, sitting near a window overlooking the hills as you paint away? Maybe you crave to be a photographer. But here you are, framing a picture of the life you wish you had. But this can still be a reality. करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे. SBI Life अपने लिए, अपनों के लिए. To know more about our insurance plans with wealth creation, log on to www.sbilife.co.in. IRDAI registration number 111.
Most of y'all are done with your appraisals, am I right? Well, how many of y'all were gunning for a promotion? Everyone was gunning for a pay hike. That goes without saying. But how many wanted to see their designation change? How many of you were hoping to have a whole new set of visiting cards printed? Hi, I'm Chetna, your favorite positive action coach, and this is Say No to Drama. The thing with promotions is that when we are all setting goals or when we are all moving towards those annual appraisals, we're all looking forward to it. Very few of us actually analyze whether it's the right time for us, whether we've done all that we needed for it, whether we're even eligible for it. When we think of an appraisal, we automatically think of a pay hike plus a promotion. Now, here's the thing. You are not eligible for a promotion every single year. Yes, that's the truth. Just because you've made VP or senior VP this year does not mean that next year you will automatically be made the CEO. Just because you have been a manager for 2 years does not mean that by default you will be made senior manager. Every designation requires a certain amount of investment on your part, a certain amount of growth. And yes, you have to prove to be of a certain caliber or rise to a certain caliber before you can be given that designation, before you earn that promotion. So the first realignment that you need to make in your own way of thinking is that you should get promoted every single year. That's an assumption that only causes disappointments because every designation requires a certain amount of investment in terms of time or number of years, or the amount of experience on your part. The second truth that I'm going to share is slightly harsher. Every company has only that many spots for each designation. There can only be one CEO. You cannot have 3. You could have 5 VPs. Sure, it depends on the size of the company and the number of departments, but you can have only one CEO. So sometimes, in terms of caliber, experience, your own worth within the company, you are eligible for a promotion. However, somebody is already sitting on that chair. And unless they move, you will not move. In this scenario, you have 2 choices. Stick it out for another year or so and hope to be promoted, or then find yourself another job where you get that promotion. Move to another company where they will give you that seat which you have now rightfully earned. And if you ask me, but what about loyalty and commitment? You need to go back and listen to some of the previous episodes that we released this month itself. Yes, to the recent past, to the previous few weeks. Why? Because when this same company goes through a bad patch, it's not going to think twice before firing you if that helps their bottom line and their top line, if that helps them staying afloat. Organizations will only show a certain level of loyalty and commitment to their people. Similarly, it is okay if you as employees only show a certain amount of loyalty and commitment. It is okay if you reach a point where you have to choose your own growth and your individual goals instead of focusing on the company. Yes, this makes it all seem very cut and dry, but well, welcome to the real world. Another truth about promotions is that sometimes your colleague, your peer, somebody who is your equal, the same amount of experience, you're joined around the same time, similar background, etc., etc. Sometimes this colleague will get promoted. Sometimes this colleague will win. Does this mean that you aren't good enough? No, not really. It just means that they have certain skills, or they have a maturity, or they have a mindset that works better for the organization than what you have. And in most cases, in such scenarios, instead of looking at your skills or looking at how much overtime you've done, you need to look at your emotional quotient, at the kind of maturity you have displayed in problem solving or in handling your team. Because in a lot of cases, when two very similar people with similar backgrounds are gunning for the same position, small things, or rather what we consider to be small things or unimportant things, make the difference. Why is it that everyone does not make a CEO? Because in order to be a CEO, you require a certain set of qualities beyond just a skill set that organization or industry needs. Leadership isn't for everyone. And to be a good leader, you need to have certain fixed qualities. So if your peer won this year, you want to look at that person, not begrudgingly, but rather curiously. Observe and try and understand, what are they doing right, or what are they doing more of that you aren't doing. Let me also tell you this. A lot of times somebody gets promoted because they are far more visible than you are. You may be the more hardworking of the two. However, they are more visible. They have packaged themselves better. That means you are weaker when it comes to marketing and sales. It takes a lot more than hard work and merit to get promoted. Like I said just a few moments ago, welcome to the real world. You may want to listen to this episode at least 2 more times to digest the hard truths that I've spelled out. But you may also want to scroll down and listen to a lot of the previous episodes, which will help you up your game so that in the next appraisal, you ace your game. All those episodes are available on the IVM Podcast app and website. And if you would like to talk to me in order to break through that glass ceiling you seem to have hit, then DM me on Instagram to book a session. My handle is Positivity Angel.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cider Says, Cyrus is joined by Utsav Mamoria, host of Postcards from Nowhere, comedian Kajal Srinivasan and Antariksh. In This Cock and Bull, they examine everything from Sri Lanka cancelling exams due to paper and ink shortage to India's rank in the World Happiness Index. Let me tell you about a new show that I'm super excited about. It's called Ek Chuski Finance. It's a finance podcast made for women by financial expert Priyanka Acharya. She simplifies complex financial concepts in an easy-to-learn manner. To top it off, the show is available in 8 languages. Tune in every Tuesday for fresh episodes. On Pesa Vesa, Anupam meets Sandeep Jethwani. Sandeep is the co-founder at Deserve. They talk about how Deserve is creating long-term portfolios for working professionals. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila folk analyze the findings of the PEW survey on gender roles in Indian society. On the Life Manifesto, Zarina reiterates how important it is for women to uplift other women and shares how they can go about doing so. And on Marathi Kirkitun, the Deshmukhs explore the sixth sense in animals and humans and why it makes them extraordinary. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. And don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. Also, remember, we're on YouTube. You can check us out on ivmpodcast.com/survey and get a list of all the YouTube channels we have active at this point. I'd also like to make a quick note that we're doing a small listener survey, and it would really help us if you could fill that out. You can go to ivmpodcast.com/survey. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance and India Water Portal. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Ladies, I'm sure you will relate to it if I say that we are constantly busy with work, studies, cooking, and what not. And amidst all of this, we often forget an important element that needs our desperate attention: finance. So here we are, bringing to you SBI Life presents A Sip of Finance, a women-exclusive podcast where we will teach you how to manage personal finances in a simple and straightforward way with your host, Priyanka Acharya, a finance expert who's been in the industry for 14 plus years. And not just in English, but in 7 more languages. So tune in every Tuesday for fresh episodes on the IBM Podcast Network and all major podcast streaming platforms.